What's going on there, Strident? This is a video response back to you from me about my original video regarding the Damian Wayne figure. And I really appreciate the video response, and thank you for your support. I love myself talking about this stuff, and because I feel like it's not most people, most channels aren't, they're not really touching on these subjects, and most people just do the reviews and that's it. And not to sound like a hypocrite, because that's usually what I do, is just the reviews, but I also do video updates and stuff like that about, you know, how I feel about stuff. And I feel like most channels don't do that stuff, and I feel like you know, me, you, Rob's Rogues does a lot of videos like that. Electric Detonator does a lot of stuff like that. Automatica does a lot of stuff like that. You know, it's like we're getting in the community. Also, Chapman Films does a lot of stuff like that. And we're getting into the community where, you know, we're all seeing the same shitty painting being painted. And it's like, no, stop that. Stop what you're doing. Let's not do it that way. And we're seeing the companies, you know, making these horrible decisions. And it's like, you know, we got to keep voicing our opinion, because the more we voice our opinion, and I completely agree with you, the more we voice our opinion, the more people it's going to affect, and maybe some change will happen finally, where we're not getting the same shit over and over again, or the same bad decisions over and over again by these big toy companies that, you know, decide what they're going to give us and what they're going to shove down our throats. And I'm going to bring in a figure right here where they shove down our throats, which you made 3 videos about, basically, is Hyperion. And the reason why I have the question in here is to make a point, and I'm gonna bring question back into the focus in a second. But this is a bad decision right here, and I don't care if you like this figure, if you don't. This was a bad decision. There should have been plenty of other videos, plenty of other figures made before this figure. There's no reason why this figure had top priority over any of the other characters, like Magneto or Jubilee or Cyclops, a proper Cyclops, a Jim Lee Cyclops, like Strident said. There's no reason for this. This doesn't make sense. If you're trying to keep the line going and you care about the line, there's no reason to give obscure characters yet, until you've hammered out your lines. Like DC, the DC line was allowed to do that because their more obscure characters were done in a little bit later waves. They were giving us, you know, tons of Batmans and tons of Supermans and tons of Green Lanterns and stuff like that. You can't give us an obscure character in one of your earlier lines. It doesn't make sense. You're not going to keep the line going if you do this. So, I mean, and Strident made a lot of good points. So if you haven't checked out his channel, check out his channel. He did a couple videos, one to a video response done to him by Juggernaut 44, and I mean, the videos have been up for a while, but they're good discussions. He makes a lot of good points, Strident does. And you know, it's like, dude, we don't need this figure. And the only reason I even own this figure is because I bought the whole wave, because I thought the wave was going to be better than it was, and I also thought I was going to get my variants, which I still haven't gotten, and nobody's seen. These variants that are just sitting in limbo somewhere and don't even exist, like Blade and Moonstar. You know, I mean, it's just ridiculous. Where are these figures? You told us we were going to get these figures as variants. I'll be surprised if we get the Bulldozer variant. I'll be surprised if we get him. I'll be very surprised, because where are those other variants? They haven't even released a statement about them. If they did, they didn't make it public. So it's like more bad decisions by 2 big toy companies making a lot of money off of us and shoving us crap like this down our throats and expecting us to pay for it. And it's bullshit. So I'm not going to do it anymore. You know what I mean? It's almost come to the point where it's like, you know, I'm gonna pick which certain characters I want. I'm not going to buy your waves anymore. So your secondary sellers on eBay or Amazon are going to make more money. They're going to upcharge more because people want to buy individual figures now and not the whole waves. You know, so I'm gonna buy my figures individually from Big Bad Toy Store, or you know, I'm not gonna buy them from secondary markets because that shit's way overpriced. And it's like, it's so frustrating because like we want certain figures and it's just like they completely it's like they do it on purpose. They know what figures we want, they know it, and they just, it's like they go a different route for some reason. I don't know, I'll never understand it. But that's what it seems like. So I'm going to bring Hyperion out because that's my little rant about Hasbro and their fuck-ups. But I'm going to bring the question back in here. And the reason why I brought the question in here is because Mattel finally got it right. Okay? A while ago, there was a fan vote about... you know, which action figure would you like to see? I believe Ragman was in the vote and a couple other figures, and the question was also in the vote. And, you know, this was the fans' choice, okay? Which was a really cool thing at the time that they did, okay? So we got our figure. We got the figure that the majority of the fan vote won. We got him. So he looks great, looks nice. Thank you so much. But where you fucked up, Mattel, is that you gave us a taste, a glimpse, if you will, of what we could have. You know what I mean? If you wanted to do a fan vote, then you should have done one once a year as a marketing tool to your customers, knowing that you give a shit about what they're spending their money on. And it just seems like lately you just don't give a shit. Well, you've probably never given a shit, but you don't give a crap about, you know, what we're spending our money and our time on. And you got it right with this guy, but you messed it up when you decided to go outside the box and give us like characters that just mean nothing. And you're doing, I was proud of them for doing the new 52 line and finally going in a different direction. With that being said, because everything pretty much has been done before, but there are still a lot of characters that you didn't touch on that you could have added into this line and made it better. And like Strident said, I don't understand why you're putting in certain action figures or certain characters, one or two per box set. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't, you know, one per crate doesn't make any sense to, and then you bitch and moan about you're not making enough money off of retail. Well, because you're not stocking the figures properly. If retailers can't stock their figures properly and you're stuck with, you know, 75 Batmans and one, you know, Catwoman, just using it as an example, then guess what? Catwoman's not going to sell. And then you take that statistic and you say, well, Catwoman's not selling because you're not stocking it properly. Because you're not doing what you're supposed to doing. If there's supply and demand and there's demand for that figure, guess what? If you're not supplying it and the demand goes up, you're never going to sell it. And if you do sell it, it's going to be on a secondary market and the figure's only been sold once to the person that's going to sell it at least twice. So one figure's getting sold almost 3 times, and you're not going to make any profit of it because it's only been paid for once retail. So that's my first point. My other point I wanted to bring up, oops, I'm bumping the camera. The other point I wanted to bring up was I recently contacted Mattel. I contacted them on Thursday, and so I called Mattel, and I actually put this on the Matty Collector forum, which I wanted to bring up, which will be included in this discussion. I called Mattel, and I got their customer service line, and I'm talking to the lady, and she's just kind of listening to me rant for a little bit, because I'm just, you know, kind of letting her know, you know, us as collectors want this, this, and this, and certain, you know. So long story short, she has no, I bring up the Damian Wayne figure. She has no idea who Damian is, or if there even was a figure. She has no idea what I'm talking about. Has no idea about who the character is or what. So she's like, well, I can transfer you to the Matty Collector line, or Matty Collector customer service line. So she transfers me. And before she transferred me, I said, can you please take what I said down as a statement? I even asked her to record this conversation as for quality control issues. Since she did, she said she did at least, and she transferred me to Matty Collector. Now I'm talking to the guy from Matty Collector. And it was a guy, and he's talking to me, and he's just, all he's doing is, you know, he heard my whole rant, my whole thing, the whole spiel I gave to the Mattel woman, I'm giving to him. And, you know, I'm like, I would appreciate if this was recorded for quality service and, you know, certain reasons, so it's on record. And he goes, well, sir, and all he's doing is sirring me to death and telling me, oh, well, you know, call or email the customer service, and then he just keeps giving me the same spiel over and over and over again. Well, I don't have anything to do with the decision making. And I was like, well, I'm not asking for a concrete answer. I'm here to give a formal complaint and a suggestion. I'm not asking for, I kept telling him, and he wasn't listening to me, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get all into it. But so I emailed them. Long story short, I emailed them, and I get an email back from the customer service line from Matty Collector, and I get an email telling me to put it in their suggestion box. So now I'm like, okay, now they're just giving me the typical fucking runaround. So I put it in the suggestion box, and then I get no answer back at all. So I put it, so you know what I did? I put it on their Matty Collector forum. Now, if you go on the Matty Collector forum, if you're a member on there, you're not allowed to give replies back. So I put it on their forum, and I post my whole email because it hasn't been responded to at all. And there's no response given. I put it up 2 days ago. So if you go on there, check it. My Matty Collector name is Akon, so check it. If you go on the Matty forum, you'll see I posted 2 posts, one in their retail spot and one in their Mattel. I believe it's the Mattel. Yeah, it's the Mattel spot for the Club Infinite Earths. So if you go in there, check that out, still no response, then there's been tons and tons of people asking about and complaining about this Damian figure not being made. So basically I want to wrap this up with to let people know, you know, I mean, I'm out here for everybody. I'm trying to get some sort of difference made with you know, something that we're all passionate about, you know what I mean? This is, like I said, it's not just about one figure, because once it's just about one figure and we let one figure go through the loop, then it's like, oh, well then fuck the line. Because that's basically, it looks like what they're doing, and I would actually be surprised if this line even makes it another year with the decisions that they're making, because I guarantee Nightmare Batman and Beware the Batman isn't going to sell big. But that's my my video response to Strident. I really appreciate what you're doing on your channel with you know, telling it like it is. I really appreciate that, and I really like the group of community that we have as collectors. I like that, and but it's scary to see where this this product is going. But with that being said, I will conclude with this video, and I appreciate you, brother, and thank you for the response, and yeah, I will see you guys on the flip side.